it's you throw up terrible.
But I can throw up by just the mention of it.
Well, I'm really familiar with it. I've lived in Mexico. Come on. Well, it's not a K, it's a so it's very difficult to pronounce for everyone. So it's not skimmel, it is schimmel.
Schimmel.
Almost.
Please advise me.
It's very simple. You're addicted.
Ouch. Ouch. Hello, everyone. Welcome to one more episode of The Best Life, where we talk to different experts, talk to different people about their experiences in life, and understand what is the best ways that we can adopt into our life to build out our own version of the best life. Today, as a guest, we have Yvonne with us. Yvonne is a master nutritionist who has been practicing for more than a decade. And not only does she follow the normal conventional nutrition to heal her patients, she also gets into body scan and DNA testing, which are the cornerstone and the cutting edge technology used in this art of using nutrition to bring well-being to the human body. Yvonne has actually compiled her learning, her first-hand learning of nutrition into a book called Eat Well, Uncover True Health. And that's what we are going to discuss about, her inspiration behind the book, why and how you should read it, because I've already read it, and how is everything that we do related and what true nutrition and true well-being is. Yvonne, she lives in Netherlands and has clients from UK and Europe, 5,000 plus clients in 10 years. So that means treating almost 500 clients in a year, whom she works on one to improve their nutrition with respect to what their health should be, what their body will take in. We usually prescribe or subscribe to the idea that we fall into a particular category of bodies which behave a certain way based on our race, the climate that we're exposed to, and the food habits that we have. But what if each one of us is actually unique? What if each one of us needs to look into what our body is talking to us and respond to it accordingly? That's the discussion that I have with Yvonne, who is a global conscious entrepreneur, is a second time writer now with her book Eat Well, Uncover True Health, which we'll be talking about, which encompasses all her learning over a period of time, is a visionary leader and a panelist speaker in some of the top conferences in the world, like Health 2.0, which was in Dubai in 2024, and shares the stage with award winning holistic contributors to health like Dr. Nikos and many other doctors whom we'll be talking about very soon. Um, and as I know her, she's pretty intuitive as a person and also someone with a lot of grit and lot of strength to pull through life. When you try to lead a life that's authentic to you, the kind of problems that present themselves to you are also very peculiar and very authentic. Yet, she is one who sometimes dances through all her problems, literally and metaphorically, because she's an ace dancer, and I'm sharing a video with you right now. And someone I would really, really want you to have a conversation with. So, presenting, ladies and gentlemen, my next guest on my podcast of My Best Life, Yvonne. Welcome to the show, Yvonne. How are you doing?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing really well. Yeah, thank you so much.
It's all my pleasure, Yvonne. And I did introduce you a bit, but I know, given our relationship, I know many other aspects of yours, like you're a brilliant dancer. You are a person who just lights up literally any environment that she goes into, very intuitive and very empathetic. So, I mean, you're a dear friend of mine. You might feel sometimes I'm younger to you, but that's not true. I'm as old a soul as you are. So, welcome to
Soul wise, yes.
And thank you for willing to do this with me. Yvonne Schimmel, did I tell it right?
Well, it's not a K, it's a so it's very difficult to pronounce for everyone. So it's not skimmel, it is schimmel.
Schimmel.
Almost.
How do you introduce to English-speaking people? I know you're from Netherlands, or you say Netherlands, but
Hi, my name is Yvonne.
Okay, so we'll stick to the first name. So, ladies and gentlemen, reintroducing Yvonne. And Yvonne, please tell us about your journey through the book. So, we are talking about your foreword, which I read, which read as, to each of my 5,000 clients in last 10 years, I stand here with a heart full of gratitude and recognition. You have molded me and empowered me to explore and understand nutrition in ways I never thought possible. May our journey together continue in pursuit of health, joy, and fulfillment. This is so magnanimous of you to thank each of your patients. Would you want to walk us through your journey of how your journey of nutrition really started and how did it evolve with each of the patients? Because when you give something to someone, invariably the universe gives something back to you. How has that experience been for you? Two, how did it compile or get concised into a book at one point of time? Just talk to us about your experience on this journey.
Well, why I started to look into nutrition is that about 12, 13 years ago, I was not feeling well at all. So then you start looking, okay, what's going on with me? What's wrong? And then I started to look into my diet and I started to read about it. And then finding out, and I was like, oh my gosh, I eat all the crap that you could get, and not taking any vitamins, not taking any minerals. And so that's how actually my journey into nutrition started. So I looked into more of it, and then I've decided to take a training course about nutrition. So I am a certified nutrition now. And in 2014, I started to work as a holistic therapist. And my sessions with my clients really got me into wanting to know more about nutrition, and not only what I've learned the traditional way, but what other professionals told me about it. So I listened to a lot of podcasts. I followed a lot of professors into the nutrition field, but not only into the traditional nutrition field, but also what no one has learned actually. And there I found out that there's so much more than the traditional way. And when I had my patients, my clients, every time when I finished a vitality check with them, I gave them a file with certain notes on it. Okay, start changing this, add this to your diet, change this in your diet. And the file became bigger and bigger and bigger. And then I was like, okay, maybe I should make a book out of it. And but all my clients came with questions. So that's why I'm very grateful for all my clients, and I'm thanking them, because they really triggered me to go beyond the traditional way of nutrition, because I found out that the traditional way is not enough. And with
Talk to us a bit about the traditional way of nutrition versus the new age nutrition that you have found. Like, what is perceived as traditional and what is new age?
Yeah. For instance, in the traditional way is you have to drink milk. And now I know better. I mean, I grew up, my parents had no clue. My mom had no clue. When I grew up, I always had to drink my glass of milk in the morning. I always had to have my breakfast in the morning. There you go. And I hated my milk. I hated my breakfast in the morning. Now I know better, because I followed my education. I dove into more out of the traditional system of nutrition. Now I know that, milk is not good. Dairy in common is not healthy for you. And now I know that it's okay to skip your breakfast. Your liver makes enough nutrients for the first 2 hours to get you started. But at that time, my mom had no idea. I had no idea. I was just a child. And because of the milk, I was getting the ear infections all the time. How many times they rushed me to the hospital because I was screaming of pain. And then bit by bit, when they started to listen to me, I don't want to have the milk. And then finally they cut out of the milk and the ear pain was gone. The ear infections didn't show up anymore. So that's why I'm now telling parents of young children. I told my own daughter, don't give my grandson any dairy. He's allergic for it even. He misses the enzyme lactase, so to digest the lactose. So for everyone who is listening, please do not take any dairy.
Is it a common thing that no one should take dairy, or is it that we need to find out what suits us? I mean, I'm not talking only about dairy here. You could be allergic, or maybe dairy is not good for your health and causes ear infection for you. I could be allergic to, say, meat. Maybe meat doesn't work for me, for my body. How do we know it, Yvonne? How do we?
Yeah, that's what something I mentioned in my book. Feel it. What is good for you. And 70% of populations misses the enzyme of lactase. So that's a lot. And actually, taking dairy People think, for instance, here in the Netherlands, we have the highest percentage of dairy intake, but we also have the highest percentage of osteoporosis. So that does not add up.
Interesting.
We should not have in the Netherlands any osteoporosis because we take so much dairy. But what it does, if we have a deficiency of vitamin K2. So we can take a lot of dairy, but if we are deficient in vitamin K2, that makes 2 protein to transport the calcium into in the dairy to our bones. And if you don't take any vitamin K2 supplement, it's not going to happen. So that's why it's so important. Wow. And a lot of people, it brings a mucus layer into your lungs. It brings a mucus layer into your intestinals. People start coughing. There's a lot of mucus in the system. You can have a lot of problems in your sinuses taking dairy. So I won't say you never ever should take dairy. And there are a lot of people who are 100% healthy and they take dairy. So it's really important to listen to your body and how do you respond to it. Absolutely.
Listening to your body. I did come across that term while reading your book E12, which we are talking about today. So how does one develop a deep intuition about their body to listen to it? You do talk about meditation and all in your book. Is that the way to develop that intuition about what's exactly going on? Or is there any scientific method also that should be put together with one's listening to one's body to understand where all are your strengths as an individual and what suits you, what enzymes are manufactured in your body, and what should you have so that you as an individual have the right kind of health that can be supported?
Yeah, well, I do understand. I understand your question that it's very difficult to start listening to your body. What does that mean? And you can put it in meditation, but just sit with yourself. Be aware of what it is every day, what you're eating. You can make a diary to put in every day your food. What is it that you're eating? How do you respond to it? If I had dairy, how did I feel? Did it give me energy, or was I really tired after it? If I eat a lot of carbohydrates, how do I feel after it? Is it okay, or am I really tired? So in that way, you become aware of your nutrition, the food that you're eating. A lot of people just eat and eat and eat because they think they have to eat, but they are not conscious about what it is that they're eating and what it does to their body. And yes, maybe for one person, a keto diet is amazingly good. Maybe for another person, I go very good on a low carb diet, not keto. That's too intense for my body. But low carb is amazing. It's very good. Another would go for a carnivore diet. Another would go for paleo. So it's not that you should go or you should be on that diet. No, that's where the listening to your body comes in. How do you feel after you ate some food? And that's very important. Every time, ask yourself that question. How do I feel after I ate carbs? How do I feel after I ate meat? Years ago, when I lived in Mexico, I was when I would eat meat, was in so much pain. But that said something about my digestive system. So I started to work on that, so improve my digestive system. Now I can eat meat, have no issues anymore. So your response to nutrition, to food, says something about how healthy you are.
Now, this is a personal question. In fact, I have 2 parts to the question, but I'll bring it forth to you. There are certain food and certain items I see, I smell, and I know they are not meant for me. I'll give you an example. Like you, even I have never been fond of dairy. I got a little fond of coffee, so I have it in coffee sometimes, but never have been fond of dairy, but have always been asked to have a glass of milk all my life. Somehow I think that has brought about health or not, I do not know. But now I skip it often and I don't feel losing out on my energy or strength because of it. But I've been someone who has been into a lot of vegetables and fruits and different leafy vegetables also. However, meat never really worked for me. I was telling you that I see a food and I smell it and I know whether it's meant for me or not. That's my reaction to all kind of meat. What would you say about that?
It's your intuition. Your intuition is responding.
So
that's very good. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's the smell, it's the vision. Sometimes people see meat and they're like, well, okay, then your body is saying, I don't want it. And for a very long time, I was not eating meat at all. And then suddenly I was like, I got this intuitive thing, like I need to start eating meat again because I was dancing so much and I needed protein. And sometimes it's not, you can get a lot of protein out of your vegetables and out of seeds. But at that time, my body was saying, you need to eat meat. So I started to eat meat again. And now it's less because I don't dance that much anymore. But so your body will put you into a certain craving. My daughter came once home and she said, "Mom, I'm craving for cauliflower." Well,
wow.
which child comes back home and say, "I'm craving for cauliflower"? And I said, "Okay, go to the market and get your cauliflower." So your body is saying, "I need this, I need this, I need this," and then there's the certain craving start. But yeah,
So
that's
craving for
cravings.
cauliflower, how would you interpret it as a nutritionist? I know as a mom, it's like go to the supermarket, get it, I'll make the best dish for you. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, maybe you needed something that is in the cauliflower that was really your body deficient of. Yeah, that's possible.
Talking of cravings, and I know it, I still know it is not right for me. But I give in to my craving for crisps. What's happening there, Yvonne? At least since yesterday, I haven't had a packet of it. Otherwise, I'm absolutely guilty for the last 2-3 months. You'll see me in person when you come to London, and you'll see that I've gained at least 4-5 kgs just because of having crisps. I know that I don't like the after effect. I am enjoying the salty sweet taste that it brings to me when I'm having it. But I also figure out I can just have some spices and it'll be enough. Why am I chewing a potato actually when I know that it's feeling dead in my mouth? I know all these, yet I have it. What's going on? What can I do for such compulsive cravings which are happening? And please advise me.
It's very simple. You're addicted.
Ouch. Ouch.
It is like being addicted to cocaine. You want more, you want more, you want more. And that's what they put into all the junk food that there is. They put and they test on it so much. And one of the in the crisps is monosodium glutamate, MSG. And they put other stuff in it. So you get hooked to it. You got addicted to it. And that's why you want more and more and more and more. I was hooked on crisp. Even it was terrible. Every evening I was like, oh, it's evening again. I can have my crisp. And it is ridiculous. And every night I would wake up from pain in my shoulder. Just this part here. And then a lot of people have that. So
my body doesn't feel good after having it. I know it every time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's crisp it's fried in terrible oil that is harmful for your body. So it's like when you eat junk food, when you eat crisp, it's like putting the wrong petrol in your car. How does your car runs when the wrong petrol is in it, or when it does not contain any oil anymore? So you are addicted, and that's what they are doing. They make you addicted to these kinds of crisps and other junk food, and it's actually almost even worse than cocaine. And that's the same with sugar. It's the same with sugar. Sugar is even worse than cocaine. You get addicted to it. So what I was realizing on a certain moment, I was like, do I want to be in this pain every night after I ate my bag of crisps? And I was like, no. So I made a decision. And that's for you and everyone else who has this addiction. Make a decision to stop. It's an addiction. And an addiction is you're only able to stop to make a decision to stop.
So it's more psychological than actually anything physical happening?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
So let's make from now on, I make the decision not to eat crisps anymore. Say it.
Now on, I make a decision not to eat crisps anymore. Wow.
Yes. And I'll believe it.
Yes, Yvonne, I believe it because since yesterday I haven't been having any. Today is Sunday. Saturday I did not have any crisps. So
Good.
I'll give
From
myself
now
a pat
on,
in the back for that.
No more crisps.
Yeah, no more crisps. But do you have such interesting patients who come to you? Interesting like me?
Oh, yeah. Talking about crisp, I had one client and we were going through her daily food intake. And I said, okay, what do you take for dinner? And she said, crisps. And I was like, For dinner or as a snack after no, for dinner. And I won't say the brand, but she was like, that's a whole bag every night. I was like, you're ridiculous. And I was like, and you're wondering why you're feeling so bad. I was like, stop eating with this. I mean, and that would be huge for her, because if you are doing it so much, and not a tiny little bit, but a lot, the whole bag. And so, yeah, I started to, coach her and get her off the crisp, and get other supplements into her diet and healthy food. So, but that I was like flabbergasted that someone would have that for dinner. Yeah.
No, I don't have it for dinner, but definitely that reduces the amount of dinner that I have, because your stomach is already full with fuel that it doesn't really cherish. But yeah, it's full.
Yeah.
The space is full. Talk to us a little more about your other clients. And I know Mary Diamond is your client. She's there on your book. I can see, I've seen her. The Feng Shui Master Mary Diamond. I know a range of popular actors over here are your clients. You have the most successful people in your clientele. What are their usual issues? Are they all in the crisp range, and that they have crisp for dinner or addiction to crisps? Or like, what is the pattern that you see usually in the way
it's
flow?
it's a broad range. Someone has bladder infections all the time, or gut health issues, or a lot of mucus, or a lot of stress. So it's really broad spectrum of that I help them with. Yes. And for them, it's very important, because it's part of who they are. And if they are not healthy, they cannot perform. For instance, I had a famous singer, and he always had a lot of mucus, and he always had a throat infection. And then I started to ask, okay, what is it that you eat on a daily basis? What is it that you use? And he also used a lot of special mouth water. I don't know how you call it, but it's after when he had dinner, or he would wash his mouth with it. But that actually kills all the bacteria, but also the good ones. So I told them, said, listen, stop using that mouthwater, because it's the worst what you can take, and for everyone. And if you want to get rid of the wrong bacteria, start using coconut oil, because that leaves the good part in your mouth, the good bacteria, but it kills the wrong bacteria. So that's what he started to do. Stop with the water, mouth water, and started to use the coconut oil. Started to do oil pulling, and then issue was gone.
Wow. That's
for him, this is very important, because he's a famous singer. He's using his voice every day.
Yeah. Of course. That makes total sense. And wow, I mean, you find the root cause, which happens to be more often than not a simple thing that's being ignored. Do you see that also as some pattern? I'm not saying it's always the pattern, but it could be that also, isn't it, Yvonne? That you're doing some simple things, simple fundamental things rather, very wrong. And that is what is causing the issue in the first place.
Yes, because people are not educated. People have no clue, and they believe everything. I'm not saying everyone is believing everything, but the most of the population still is believing everything that it's on TV or it's advertised, or you have to use this mouthwater because it's very healthy, or you have to use this toothpaste because it's very healthy for your teeth. It's not, but we are not educated, and I can't blame them, because when you go to school, there's no one who teaches you about nutrition, about all these kinds of things.
I never had a nutrition class. It would have helped me a lot. I was a
exactly, and
kid, but a very energetic one.
Yes, and that's why I think it's very important to start already at a young age to educate the people. Okay, what is really nutrition? What is healthy? What is not healthy? And then that's the reason I put the book together, because I was flabbergasted that the people had no clue. They had absolutely no clue about really small changes, what it can do. For instance, if you eat certain breads, bread is not that healthy at all. But if you want to change bread from wheat into spelt or into oat, that's already a huge change. That people come back to me and say, "Oh, I started to eat oat or oatmeal instead of bread. Oh, my intestinals are feeling so much better. I have much more energy. I have less mucus." So it's sometimes a very small change. What can help you?
In fact, I'm also told that the medicines that we take also trigger a certain kind of environment within our body, which helps us feel better. So if that can be done more naturally by nutrients that we take, or the food that we take is more nutritious, definitely that resolves the issue more organically over a period of time. What do you think about that? Would you think I'm
the
thinking
thing
on the
is,
right
yes, yeah, I do agree. We have to get it from nutrition. First thing, if you want to improve your health, is cut out all the junk food, and you know yourself what junk food is. And if then you start eating, vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, drink a lot of water. A lot of people are dehydrated. Absolutely. So that's very important. And not just drink water, but I have a chapter in my book. People just have to read it about the whole water thing. And add some Celtic sea salt in it, because then your cells are holding on to the water instead of flushing it out straight away.
Tell us the word again. What salt did you mention?
Celtic sea salt.
Celtic sea salt. So we should add Celtic sea salt to the water.
Yes, because then your body is keeping the water into the cells. Otherwise, you flush it out straight away, and then that's not healthy for your kidneys to drink too much. I had a talk a couple of months ago, and I was talking with a guy about this, and he said, I drink 8 liters of water every day. And I was like, what? Are you serious? And he said, yeah, because I'm thirsty. I'm so thirsty that I really need to drink it. And I was like, you will have kidney problems in 1 or 2 years because it's an overload.
Oh, really?
You are poisoning yourself with water.
I thought it was recommended to drink quite a lot of water. 8 glasses.
But not 8 liters.
Yeah. Not 8 liters.
No, and it's also depending what kind of water that you drink. I mean, tap water is not healthy. Bottled water is not healthy. Distilled water is you have to add some salt, some minerals to it. So it's difficult nowadays. Now they're talking about hydrogen water is very healthy. So just leave that beside about the water, but it's really healthy to have the Himalayan salt or the Celtic sea salt in your water, so it comes into your system and you hold it. Yes, absolutely.
And Celtic sea salt is something we can just find on the supermarket.
Oh yeah, supermarket or a special shop who have all kinds of these kinds of things. Yeah,
okay. Just a pinch of it, isn't it, for a glass of water?
Just a pinch is enough.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we come back to healthy nutrition. The ORAC, you have an ORAC score, and the ORAC score that says something about how much nutrition is still left in the food. And the last 75 years, about 50 to 75% of vitamins and minerals are gone.
Oh.
So we think we still can get it out of our nutrition, out of our food, but unfortunately it is not. It's not possible to get everything out of our food again. And also we have a lot of stress nowadays, and the stress, when you have a lot of stress, you need much more vitamins and minerals. So that's why it's very important to add some vitamins and minerals into your diet. Absolutely. And for instance, an omega-3 is very important. I write about a whole chapter in my book about omega-3 and a blend of vitamins and blend of minerals. If you start doing that, that will help you already so much. Absolutely.
So when you say a blend of vitamins and minerals, are you referring to also recommending supplements? Taking supplements is the idea, because everything that we find in the supermarket is somehow either pesticide prone or fertilized food more than the organic food. And then there is an array of food items which are not at all healthy for us, crisp included. Sorry for making crisp the main topic. But yeah, again, milk is not something we are discovering. And I've heard this from other experts also, that we may not necessarily need milk. The strength of our bones actually comes from the leafy vegetables that we have more often than not. But again, because the soil quality is going down, and there is a different kind of issue that we are facing. So what you are recommending is that consider having supplements also, if your diet is not as rich as it should be, if you're not the one who's cultivating and having the food from your backyard. What do you think?
Yeah, exactly. And even then, then everything has to be in the soil. If there's nothing in the soil, then you can eat from your backyard. But if it's not in it, then it won't grow in it. And so that's why it's so important. And people really feel the change within a couple of days. I had someone who had brain fog, cognitive, not good in memory, and not functioning very well. And then I said, you need B12 and folic acid. And she said, after 4 days, I could not recognize myself anymore. My memory was much better. My cognitive system functioned much better. 4 days of taking vitamin B12. I had a client who had aphasia, and so she could not come on the words. And taking vitamin B12, 1 month later, I talked to her again, and she said, Yvonne, this is a God gift, because finally I can make normal sentences again. I can have a good conversation again. So vitamin B12 and folate is so important, and that's one of the reasons. And I know this is a topic we will speak about it in another podcast about DNA.
Yes.
About DNA testing.
But talk to us a bit about it. That's okay.
Yeah.
We can cover a bit.
Yeah. Well, it's very important to test at a very young age your DNA. It's just a mouth swab. So it's even for young children, it's very easy to do. And then at least from a young age, where your predispositions are. If you have a gene mutation, and then you might need forever take folate and B12. And if you know that on a young age, can you imagine what that can do for those children learning on school, how it will improve? Or at least preventive, that they won't get the brain fog, that they can have a very good system, and that they function very well in school, that they have a good attention, and they maybe prevent ADHD. So that's why I'm really dove into the thing of DNA testing, because I do believe that will be a huge add tool to preventive healthcare.
Definitely. And as you mentioned, we'll dive one day deeper into what exactly is this DNA testing and how does it work. That's definitely on the cards for another day. But coming back to your book, which we are talking about, and where the topic started, you do mention about supplements in your book. You do mention about water in your book. Your book, again, the title of it reads, Eat Well, Uncover True Health. What does true health mean to you, Yvonne, over all these years? How would you interpret true health? Share with us.
Well, I think, true health is, are you talking about true health or true nutrition?
True health.
True health.
Which comes from nutrition. We have been talking about health all this time.
Yeah.
Nutrition all this time.
Yeah.
So let's talk about health.
Well, health is, of course, not only the physical part of your body. It's also how are you mentally doing? And I think that's a very important part of health. If you are mentally okay, then your body will be also much healthier. But if you have a lot of stress or you have a lot of emotions, and because I do believe that emotions are the trigger of your disease. And I'm not saying disease, but it's a disease. It's not mean that you're always sick. It can be a disease. And that's why it's so important to also look at your mindset, the mindset of the client. And what I found out during my 10 years of practicing as a holistic practitioner is people need to be heard. The client needs to be heard. If you have a complaint, if you have a health issue, nowadays you go to the doctor, you maybe have 10 minutes and that's it. Then you're out with medication, or, you're already getting older. So that's health, age related. And those clients I get in my practice. And then you just start listening to them, hear them. And that's one example I can mention about my mom is she had a health issue. She went to the doctor, and the doctor hardly had any time for her, and really, it's age related, and just maybe you should get another bed or something like that. My mom came back home crying because she was in so much pain. She was really in terrible pain. So my father was so upset, called the doctor, asked for another doctor, sent my mom to the doctor again. And this doctor sat down with her, listened to her. What's really the issue? What's behind the pain? And my mom came back home. Half the pain was gone.
Wow.
I mean, and that's what I started to do with my patients. Listen. Okay, what are you telling me? What's behind the issue? I mean, you can have stomach pain, but that maybe is not in your stomach. But probably it's the emotion behind it. Every issue in your gut system, in your digestive system, your digestive system is not only for digesting food, but it's also in digesting life.
Okay.
And that's what you have to look into it. So I'm already going the other way about what your question was. But what is health? Health is looking into the physical part and the mental part. It's a combination. Look into the emotion, going to the root of the cause instead of, going to the symptoms and just say, okay, you have to do this or you have to do this. No, okay, ask people questions and dive into the emotion behind it.
Because if we do not solve it at that level, then it will anyway repeat itself, or the symptoms will get cleared. You will feel like, okay, now I'm healthy. It's more like clearing the alarms, but the true issue still lies, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, if I have an addiction, I have to of crisps, then I'll have to clear my mind as to why I'm giving in into that craving, which is a deeper issue to look into, as to what are the moments, what are the scenarios that I'm facing,
Exactly.
which I am getting triggered to give into that moment. Because yeah, since yesterday I haven't been having it and I'm totally fine, I'm happy. I'm doing this
Exactly.
podcast with you, I can be perfectly fine. What are those weak moments when I'm doing? Because that's where it originates. I love the way you put it, that your digestive system not only digests the food, but it also digests the kind of life energy that you're bringing in. So
Yep.
yeah,
Correct.
that makes a lot of sense. So your book is endorsed by Dr. Nikos, who is himself known as a very well-known, worldwide well-known, award-winning holistic doctor. You have also won the award along with him, by the way.
Yeah.
And it was an international award, guys, which Yvonne has won at Dubai this year. And then there is Dr. Felix Economakis, who is really well-known in his psychotherapy practices, which bring about a very rapid transformation in a positive way in the patients, to even Dr. Spencer Poole, who mentors so many people around the world. And even the Feng Shui master, Mary Diamond, she has written a page about your book. Talk to us about what is the way you would recommend our audience to go through and read the book. I'm not including myself because I've read the book already, but I'll read it again. Thank you for sharing it with me. How do they read your book? What is the right way to approach it to make most of
Well,
the knowledge within it?
yeah, we have, of course, different chapter. It's about mindset. It's about meditation. It's about, I put a chapter in for the body scan. I put a chapter in for DNA. But the nutrition part is you just take out what resonates with you. And I mean, if you would read every day a chapter, within 1 month you're going through my book, but I can assure you when you start reading you won't stop reading because it's very interesting. And just apply that what is okay for you, and maybe this month you take that out of it and you start changing that in your diet, and maybe the next month you take another part of it and you start changing that in your diet. And there are other people who would read the book and change the whole diet straight away. So not everyone is able to change straight away the whole diet. If it feels good for you, then it's okay for you. If it feels that you should take a part of it every week or every month, then it's okay with you. As long as you are changing it and becoming aware of what nutrition can do for you and how helpful it can be to add some of the supplements or add, for instance, the bone broth. Oh my gosh, it can benefit
There's a
you.
chapter about it.
Big,
Yes.
it's a huge chapter of bone broth because it's so important. It can do so much for you. And even vegan people who do not eat meat or fish, and when they start to take the bone broth, they really feel the difference. It's absolutely very, very healthy for you. So, but sometimes you want to make smoothies. If that's a part of you, there's a chapter in it. If you want to start eating meat, there's a chapter about it, what you should eat and what you shouldn't eat, where you get your meat from and where not from.
You also talk
So
about superfoods.
superfoods, yeah, that part is from David Wolf, and probably a lot of people will know him. He's very famous. Superfood is the real nutrition, and for instance, the bee pole. Is that the same in English? Bee pole, bee poles.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, my English is not 100%. It's about
That's
90.
okay. That's really okay.
But yeah, but the superfoods, it really contains a lot of valuable nutrition, and that's why it's so important to have those kinds of superfoods introduced into your diet. And yeah, you can start the day with it. You can put some protein shake, put some superfoods in it. For me, I
Can you
take
can you put one or two superfoods before us which one should consume on a daily basis?
hemp seed, for instance. I
Okay.
start my day with oatmeal, just a little bit of oatmeal, and then a lot of hemp seed I put in it for my protein. Raw cacao. That raw cacao is amazing. It actually helps you produce more stem cell.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
So that's
Okay.
really, really good. And so yeah, like I said, maca. If you have hormone issue, maca is very, very healthy. So there's a whole chapter about superfoods, and really look into it because and take out of it what resonates with you.
Yes, yes. So there are quite a few chapters on different things, starting from bone broths to what a vegan diet should look like, to superfoods, to even nightshade foods, isn't it? That's also something that you cover. That brinjal and other nightshade foods we should have it in limited quantity because they happen to have a kind of impact on the nervous system and the digestive system. Is my understanding
Exactly.
correct?
Yeah. Not
So
everyone has issue with it,
yes,
but if you have pain in your joints or in your muscles, see if you leave out the nightshade vegetables, see how you respond to that, and maybe that's the trigger for your pain. Not always, because carbohydrates are also a trigger. But have a look at the nightshade. If you don't take it anymore, what does it do to your pain? Maybe it solves. Maybe it goes away. So then you
interesting.
know that you should not take any nightshade food.
So it is all about trying out each of the ways that are recommended in the book and seeing how it works for you. Like you talked about the food diary that one needs to maintain, not dairy. We are talking of a diary that we write. And you had a certain food. How did you feel after it? In short term and in longer term, do you also recommend a certain kind of break between two food? I know you talk two meals, because you talked about keto diet, and you talk about it further in your book, and you talk about the other diets like low carb diet, and there was another one which I'm forgetting the name.
Paleo, carnivore. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for bringing that up. But all these different kinds of diet, is it that we need to experiment and find out which is working best for us, and of course go to nutritionists like you and get more counseling on what will work for us? Is
Yeah,
that the
I
best?
think it's very important. If you have a health issue or you want to work preventive, you have to look into the diet, what's good for you. And I would really suggest go to a holistic practitioner, someone who really has knowledge about good nutrition. Or you give me a call. I can work online too.
Definitely. So we'll
Yeah,
definitely put the link of your book on Amazon as it comes over here. We'll
yeah,
add it here, and we'll also share your contact details if you're comfortable with it for
of
people
course.
to reach out to you. And if they anyway put a comment below, I'll anyway redirect them to you. So I can do that definitely. Any so that is how we approach your book and move ahead with it. I also had a question about joint pains and chronic diseases and how we clear that. And you did mention that joint pains and all could sometimes be because of carbs and could sometimes be because of the nightshade foods that you might be overeating. Based on your body type, it may not suit you.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. It's not to say, okay, if you have joint pain, then you have to change your food. It is this or it is that. It can be an emotion, also be the trigger. It's another subject, but the fascia is very important also, and that's what I always give my clients. There's an app about fascia training, and because in the fascia, your emotions are triggered, are stuck. So
what is fascia exactly? Can you tell us a little more?
fascia is the connective tissue. Without fascia, you will just be bones and muscles. So it's
The
there's a
ligaments?
thin layer underneath your skin that holds everything together. But there always also goes your emotions are triggered in it. So if I have people with a lot of pain or with a lot of trauma, I also tell them about the app. There's a very good app. It's a Human Garage, and they train about fascia, and it's an amazing subject. It's very important. And also the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is its connection between your gut and your brain, and that's also very important to look at. So it's not only nutrition; it's the holistic approach of a disease.
I love the way you put it forth as dis-ease, not being at ease, instead of just calling it disease. I mean, we call it disease so many times without realizing the actual meaning of where it
Yeah,
comes from. So it's so important to be at ease, to perform to one's best. If you're stressing out due to some reason, maybe you're putting yourself into a dis-ease, which will later on not really lead to the success and kind of accomplishment that you're looking for. So these are
exactly.
definitely some points for all of us to consider and take forth. Before we wrap up, I'll just squeeze in a couple of questions. I know these are topics that are talked about everywhere and everyone is aware of, but I would love to have the expert opinion when I have an expert with me in the room. So, sugar is a silent killer. You did mention that sugar is not good and it was just in the fly, but where all are we finding sugar where it is not sweet? and should that also be avoided?
Yes, sugar is in everywhere. And that's why we really should eat just, your fruits, just your vegetables, your nuts, your seeds, and drink your water, because then you're safe. But you should avoid the supermarket, actually, because,
How,
there's
Yvonne? Should we go to the farmer's market?
Go to the farmer's market, go to
Okay,
the
guys,
real
go to
good
the
butcher.
farmer's market. Do
And
not go
even
to
in
the
London, I mean, you
supermarket.
live in London. I visit the farmers market in London many times, and there you get your real food. So yeah, sugar is in everything, and it really causes aging, early aging. You have telomeres in your system, and that the telomeres are the end of your DNA. So you can see it as the end of your shoelace. There's a piece of plastic on it, and that's what you can see with your DNA. Telomeres are on the end of your DNA to protect it. But the sugar eats bit by bit the telomeres. So bit by bit, it gets shorter and shorter and shorter. So it's damaging your DNA, and it's causing very early aging. And it damages just your health. It's sugar. It should not be in your diet. Very simple. Cut it out. And it's as I told you, it's addictive. It's even worse as cocaine. And not to take cocaine instead of sugar.
That does not mean cocaine is healthy.
I just want to point out how
I get your drift.
terrible it is, and we have no clue. And when you are on the beginning of your journey, I mean, then it's very difficult to cut out the sugar. But bit by bit, please be aware of it and what it does to your health, because it's the first thing of getting a disease. Absolutely.
Now, what I'm going to talk about as the last point before we wrap up is something that in some countries around the world is still considered a taboo or not allowed by the government, if not considered a taboo. But I'll still anyway bring it up. But there are other parts which accept it. Plant medicine. What are your thoughts about it? How much should one have? And is it actually enlightening? And should we get enlightened just take it as a cup of coffee every day? I mean, yeah. If you have any thought process on that.
About what plants are you talking about? Which plant?
You tell me. I mean, I've heard so much of plant medicine. Even the first podcast that I did with Constantine, he was talking of his experience. So he's a guy from Canada, and he was talking about how he went through his own awakening, and plant medicine played a role in it for him. But he had it only once till now in his life. But I'm just trying to understand. I keep hearing about plant medicine, magic mushrooms from so many people around. Are these all in the same category, or what should one be using as a discretion while having or not having them?
Well, I'm really familiar with it. I've lived in Mexico. Come on. So yes, my experience is it can be very helpful, but there is a caution with it. If you are depressed, or if you are not in a good mood, or just don't do it on your own, especially not the first time. Do it with a real shaman, because that is very important. That's how I did it. I was thinking of doing it already for a very long time, and when I still lived in the Netherlands, but I had not the right people to do it with. And then when I lived in Mexico, I started to get the people around me who were doing it, and I was like, okay, maybe this is a good moment to start doing it. And so first of all, the first 3 weeks I changed my diet. I really went into very clean eating, and I did kambo sessions. And kambo is that you take the poison of the frog and you put it in your arm, and you throw up terrible.
But yeah, I can throw up by just the mention of it.
You're cleaning out your system. And the first time I was so sick for almost, for a couple of days, almost a week, I was not feeling well. And they said, oh my God, what you purging out is unbelievable. Well, of course, my past, what happened. So it was not that strange that happened. The second time, I was already feeling better. In one day, I was okay. And the third time, I was like, okay, what's going to do next after the session? So that's how, you clean up your system. And after that, I did ayahuasca. And ayahuasca with a real shaman from Peru, it was amazing. It was very intense, and a lot of things occurred to me. I was purging a lot. You have hallucinations. I felt myself dying, and I was like, "Oh, I'm dying." Oh, and the dust falling down, and it's for me, it's like you're looking at a TV program. So it's a hallucination. I was aware of it. So that was why I was at ease with it. So I was just noticing about, okay, what's going on? What's in my system? Okay. Oh, I'm fighting this against this. I'm fighting against that. So it was a very intense journey, but it brought me a lot. It really brought me a lot. And in the journey, I saw a picture of a symbol. And this is actually the symbol I saw in my ayahuasca. And it's this. 2 days later, I walked into a shop and I was like, "Oh, there it is!" So I bought it, and I'm wearing it almost every day now. And then after the ayahuasca, I did magic mushrooms a couple of days later, and I started really at a very tiny dose just to experience it. And then every time I did it, I increased the dosage, because also with that you have to be careful, and that's with every plant-based medicine. What it is that you want to do, please do it with someone else. I mean,
And
after
especially
that,
with someone who has the experience of handling it,
yeah,
professionally handling it right. Like
yeah.
you did all these with the right kind of shamans and all the way in Mexico, not back in
No, not here.
Netherlands.
Not in,
Yes, yes.
well, you don't have to be in Mexico, of course, to do it. But at least I
Yes,
had the right people there, and
yes.
I know some people in London also who are very good at it in guiding it. But that is really important. And after a couple of times, I started to do it on my own. I take mushrooms on my own, and also in London, I had a wonderful experience of doing it. And what can it bring you? It gives you, it's kind of awakening. It gives you insights in things that is maybe from the past, what happened to you, or else. I I heard a story about someone who had PTSD and from the war, and he did one ayahuasca session, and he said all the session I had in the past of my therapist, just one ayahuasca session brought me back to the guy I was before the war. So it can really help you with health issues, absolutely. But be cautious. Do it with the right
What
people in the
has
right
so
setting.
much power of energizing and bringing you back to health,
Yeah,
if not done well, can be absolutely fatal. So it's
it's not
important.
fatal. I mean, it won't kill you,
Yeah.
but you can have a very very bad trip, a very bad experience, and that is not
And
what it's
that could bring you
supposed.
down further in your
Yeah,
energy,
yeah,
isn't it?
absolutely,
That's what I
absolutely.
meant by fatal. I wasn't
Yeah,
talking of the physical death, but
yeah,
rather, yeah,
yeah,
I get the direction that you're pointing at. Sure. And you do talk about meditation and all also, which could be the right kind of way also to go ahead after or before you have that experience, so that you center in your body, because ultimately what we are trying to do is center and
yeah,
remove the energies that we have gathered which may not really
yeah.
belong to us.
Meditation is so important, and I try to do it every day. And if I have a very busy day, just 5 minutes, sit down, close my eyes, go to my heart, and start my breathing there, or go all the way down to my root chakra, go my breathing there. Every evening before I go to sleep, I do breathing sessions. So I breathe in 30 times, like this, and then after 30 times I breathe out all the way out, and I keep in my breathing as long as I can. It's about 100 seconds, and I breathe in. Then I put all the energy to my head. I keep it there as long as I can, and then going out. That's also very healthy. So there are meditation, breathing, plant-based medicine. There are all kinds of things that can help you with your health. Absolutely. You just have to sort out what suits you. What does it makes you feel comfortable?
So
What
it's
makes you happy?
so it's important to listen to one's body, eat
Exactly.
well, and uncover true health. So it's a journey in itself. And thank you for bringing this book to life so that we can have it as a guide for us while we take the journey along. And we will have many more discussions with you, because I know you have so many facets to yourself, Yvonne. Yeah, and I mean, when we have a face-to-face discussion, it just goes, flows, and we do not even realize that time has passed. So thank you for agreeing to make it to my podcast. Means a lot to me. And I'm sure our audience has definitely gathered quite a lot of points that will help them in their journey ahead. We will stay connected. All the best for your book. Guys, Yvonne's book, Eat Well, Uncover True Health, is there in the link. Go ahead and buy it right now and go through it page by page, chapter by chapter, and see what intuitively resonates with you and how you can listen to your body and have the best of the health and the best of the experience that you built in your life to build the best life. So thank you again. And
Thank you for having me.
love and light. Take
Bye
care.
bye.
Bye.